Good. And you?
I am also doing well.
Okay.
In fact, in our politics, between 2016, when the NPP was campaigning to come into government, sole sourcing was a major issue. Now, the NDC also raised it in some form in 2024. The president is announcing that it will be outlawed, especially in the use by public officers, except in exceptional circumstances. Why is sole sourcing such a no-go area? What's the problem with sole sourcing?
Sole sourcing plays a dual role. It can be used for a good purpose. It can be used for a bad purpose. And if you read section 40 of the Act, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, if you read section 40 of the Act, it gives the processes or situations that sole sourcing can be used. For example, sole sourcing can be used in case of emergency.
Okay.
Where there's no room for competitive process because the problem has to be solved. That is one. Another situation that we can use sole sourcing is whereby, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Yeah,
Clearly.
whereby the producer of the item is only one source. You can only get the source from only one person. So there's no reason why you should go through a competitive when it will end up that it's only one person who will prevail.
Okay.
Yes. So on the other hand, people tend to abuse the process whereby they can even go for sole sourcing when there's no emergency. But you see, the law says that all sole sourcing must be declared by the authority. So public authorities or public institutions feel that immediately I get the approval from the authority, that's the public procurement authority, I'm safe. Whatever can the authority give me the approval. Yes. So it depends on policymakers. If you do the right thing, it goes to save the country. If you do the wrong thing, it goes to hurt the country. Don't forget that the public there's a public policy for public procurement that talks about efficiency, transparency, openness, accountability, and value for money. So if as a public official you are undertaking procurement and you know very well that you are not meeting this criteria, then you should sit up because the day of reckoning will one day surface. So that is the level I can say about public sole sourcing.
I see. So, for the sake of emphasis, you said under what conditions is sole sourcing ideal?
One, under emergency.
Emergency.
Yes.
Okay.
Emergency situations, you can use sole sourcing. Or two, there is a known producer of the item.
Okay.
Or the service is only one person. So there's no need for you to go through competitive process whereby at the end of the day, one person will prevail. So with that, you have to give justification to the authority for them to give you approval. You understand? Even with that, if you as an institution, you identify that there is only one producer of the item, then you write to the authority that, look, we want to, as it were, undertake this. So there is no need for me to go through competitive process because he's the only known producer.
I see. Yeah. So under those two conditions, sole sourcing is ideal. So if those
there are other conditions.
Okay.
There are other conditions. The other conditions too are that maybe you've gone through a competitive process to select a supplier or a contractor or a service provider. Then there is the need to re-engage. With that, to re-engage the same supplier because of compatibility. Let's say you've gone to procure a particular machine and you need some sort of, spare parts or whatever. these are giant and complex situations, issues that I'm talking about. There is no need to go and open it up, because if you open it, another supplier will bring his part that will not be may not be compatible to the equipment that you have procured. With that, you can write to the authority and say that, look, we went through competitive means to procure this particular item, and there's a need as a reason where we have to buy this part or whatever. So we need to source the same supplier to be able to, as it were, make the machines workable. Yeah.
I see. Then, at what point does the matter of restrictive tendering come in? What does that even mean?
Okay. Restrictive tendering is also closer to sole sourcing, but that has some elements of competitiveness. And restrictive tendering can also be used in case of emergency. 2, where the producers of the items are known. Let's say there are only 5 within the system, within the country, if you are using, let's say, national competitive tendering. With that, the law says that since the producers are unknown, there's no need to open up for wider competitiveness, like advertisement and whatever. Just write to those known producers or service providers for them to come and compete among themselves. But don't forget that with restrictive tendering, you cannot compare apples with oranges, whereby you go and compare a firm that was registered just last year to firms that have been in the industry for long. The law says that compare oranges with oranges. If you are saying that you are using restrictive tendering and that the producers or the service providers are known, then the cutoff point, let's say 5 years experience within the industry for the competitors, then based on that you evaluate. Then you evaluate all those known competitors, then you award. So sometimes it becomes strange that institutions will invoke restrictive tendering, and then they tend to disqualify others on the grounds that they don't have the experience. It's ridiculous, because you said these are known players within the industry, and that the authority, the public procurement authority, should give you an approval to invite them and evaluate. Then you turn and qualify one by saying that they don't have the experience. On what basis did you say that they are the known players within the industry and that they have the experience? So there's no need to open up for extensive competition. That is by advertising.
So these companies would have to have a track record in the industry.
Yes. All of them. All of them. If you are restricted has an element of competitiveness, whereby you invite the players within the industry that you say they are the only players within the industry. So you are calling them for them to compete among themselves. Yeah.
But you are saying in an emergency situation you can use this?
Yes, in an emergency, because you see the processes of restricted tendering is shorter than you open for a wider competition. You know, with restricted tendering, you don't do an advertisement, but with national competitive tendering or international competitive tendering, you have to do an advertisement.
Can you also apply restricted? Yes. Can you also apply in a situation where the place involved, maybe the person involved or the establishment involved is sort of a pseudo security agency?
It's a what?
Like where they deal with matters that you can say are matters of security.
Oh yes. Yes. In matters of, the security agencies have their own way of doing things. Matters that have security implications, you can use it. It's about you justifying to the authority, that is the Public Procurement Authority. And if it makes sense, though within the law, the Public Procurement Authority acts within the law. If it makes sense, the Public Procurement Authority will clear it.
Okay. So you must justify it before the PPA.
Yes, you have to. And you must receive an approval from the authority, from the Public Procurement Authority, before you can, as it were, activate the process.
So once you have this approval, you can go ahead and use it.
Yes, that is why I said at the beginning that it has been abused, whereby any petty thing that you can even use price quotation to get, people write to the authority that they want to sole source. And you should understand that when it comes to sole sourcing, price is not a factor here. Price is not a factor. It's sole sourcing. You don't look at thresholds. You don't look at thresholds, but with national competitive tendering, there are thresholds. International competitive tendering, there are thresholds. We have also what we call consultancy. And with consultancy, we have different processes. We have the least cost, we have the fixed budget, we have quality and cost-based selection, we have selection based on consultants' qualification and other things. That also has its line.
So in a situation where I feel I need to do something and I do not have time on my hands, people tend to go with the restrictive or sole sourcing?
If time, that's why I said under emergency cases. Let's say there is flood, and you need to get some basic things to the affected areas. With that, you cannot go for competitive processes. So with that, you just write to the authority that, look, we need to buy these basic things to save those who have been affected with the flood. Then the authority will give you the approval to go through sole sourcing. Sometimes you even have the database of suppliers already, which you have been dealing with, and that you have even, as it were, agreed on prices already. So with this emergence, when you write to the authority that, look, we went through a competitive process and we bought maybe a shovel for, say, 5 cities, and that 5 cities is going to be maintained by this same supplier. So we want an approval to engage. That it will fly.
Okay. And when that, okay, so finally, then there's a term of competitive bidding.
Yeah.
It seems like that's supposed to be the ideal way.
That's the ideal way.
Okay.
Yes. That's the ideal way.
Why is it?
It's ideal because you advertise for the item you want to procure. Everybody within the country or beyond will bid. And sometimes you might think that if you go through restricted, no, let me put it this way. When everybody or every supplier within the country or beyond bids, there will be value for money. Let me give you a typical example. We wanted to procure some computers, and the institution had agreed that they want to go use restricted tendering, and the budget then was almost like $800,000. That was huge. When we were engaged and we went through open competitive tendering, look, it was slashed to about $700,000, $500,000 saved. This tells you that competitive tendering is the best, and it caps corruption, everything. Yes, because with competitive tendering, you open the base in public, or the what we call tenders. You open it in public. The prices will be quoted to everybody to hear. You go into evaluation, and when people don't make it, you have to write to them and let them know the reasons why they could not make it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, and let me conclude then by asking you, I'm sure you've read what is going on in the public domain, allegations against Gold Board's responses. What do you think?
It's complex. I think I've read the bits and pieces. I've not read the detailed evaluation reports.
Okay.
I've not read the detailed evaluation reports.
Okay.
So commenting on it holistically, I might not be fair to Gold Board. But all what I would tell all public institutions is that when engaging a procurement officer or procurement specialist, make sure they have what it takes to handle that portfolio. Because if we don't take care as a country or as a government, our Waterloo will be procurement. Because it's not, the procurement is not just like going to the market to buy tomatoes. It needs people who have gone through the mill with extensive experience to handle